Thanks for staying with us on Beyond 100 Days. We're staying on that alleged certificate racketeering from Benin and Togo Republic universities that has now led the federal government to put a hold on certificates from those countries. But let's bring in now our guest. He is the president, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Yomi Otubela. He joins us virtually. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
You've seen the reaction to this report since it was published. It's been alarming how people have also been coming up with their own revelation as to what has been going on. And it sort of shows you that, look, this is not a today problem. It's been on for years. But what is most alarming for a lot of people is the NYSC part, the fact that, this reporter was able to use that certificate for NYSC, even though he has served before. What does that tell you about our internal processes, especially in terms of quality control and assurance?
Yes, I want to say that there is no system all over the world that is perfect in terms of quality assurance. Even developed country, we have informations where people have used traveling document of someone totally different from the traveler and that successfully landed in the country of destination. And over time, we have seen this developed country trying to adjust their policies from time to time to ensure that they take care of those loopholes. So Nigeria system is not an exception to any system that is facing imperfection. What this tells us is that the NYSC group should ensure that we put measures in place to ensure that there is no repeat of such loophole for anyone who had served before to have access to serve without the system detecting such. That should be easy for them with the advent of technology to register students, because in most cases, candidates with the same name would not have the same date of birth and will not have the same maiden name for mother and some other similar thing that can figure out those who are having duplicate entry into the NYSC camp. So I expect that the management of NYSC should see this as a wake-up call to make sure that they mitigate their system against such reoccurrence. And
but Mr. Otubela, this is beyond the NYSC. It's not just an NYSC problem. It's an education sector problem. Because I listened to the reporter where he said that in 2018, and I've listened to those who have served in one capacity or the other in the education sector saying, actually, that in 2018, an investigation was done and the federal government, was aware of it. There were responses made at that time, but it was allowed, to continue to fester. And so doesn't that already show, again, what do you make of that?
Yes, I still want to emphasize the fact that no system could be perfect. I want to first and foremost appreciate the reporter, the undercover who had gone through all the steps to ensure they get these facts and revelation for Nigerian governments to be able to work on. I've read the report where the Malam Adamu, the then Minister for Education, had taken some steps by setting up committee to investigate this certificate racketeering. And to some extent, some culprits, universities were discovered and they were banned from having access to clearance from Nigerian system. We also need not to stop about just announcing this discovery. We also need to dig deeper to see those who are culpable in different sectors who must have colluded with those who are in this racketeering to ensure that they face the wrath of the law. For me, we continue to tighten up our system, especially the area of immigration, who the reporter claimed that he never left the country, but he was able to stamp his passports in and out for the period of the 4 years of his studies in the Benin Republic. So it has nothing to do, it's not limited to NYC. I agree with you. It goes around most of our systems. Immigrations are mentioned here. They are alleged to have been part of it. The federal ministry officials were alleged to be part of that. The NYC also were alleged to have not tightened up their system, which had allowed the candidate to register and have access to the NYC services camp, haven't served initially in the past. So my take here, therefore, is that it should not be limited to the education system. This is an eye-opener that most of our database are exposed to breach, and all those who are concerned should come to table with the hope of tightening these systems and ensuring that it is not easy for people to break those protocols.
And let's talk about this rush and the excitement of Nigerians to seek certificates in foreign countries, and even in countries where, you know, the education sector in terms of quality is lesser than Nigeria. I remember some time ago, it was the chairman and CEO of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission when a student was killed in Northern Cyprus. You know, she talked about how certificates from that country, you know, in some universities are not recognized. Also talked about the country itself. But you find Nigerians, you know, continuing to troop to that country and other countries with lesser education quality, you know, than Nigeria, going to school there. What is the motive, and how should that be addressed?
Yes, let me quickly say this, that we should not believe that all students who have sought qualitative education outside the shore of the country, I mean Nigeria, has gone for the purpose of getting a fake certificate or certificate in which they have not worked for. There are some people who have who have studied in this university, who have gotten this certificate in the accredited course of that university. Some of these universities are actually approved by their host country, and there are courses that are accredited. And it is also true that where they are doing these illegal activities are either for some courses that are not accredited, or some courses that are accredited, but they also do these certificate businesses with it. It is also good to note here that in Nigeria here, as I read from one of the responses of the NYSC representative, that there are times in the past where some Nigerian universities and the Polytechnic had also involved in this certificate racketeering, and they had been investigated and been punished. So it shows to us that it is not limited to those states or to the foreign country university. It is a thing that is established in most countries of the world. And those who are seeking education in foreign country cannot all be said to be looking for certificates that they never worked for. While we are going to have the Judases among those who have gone out, we also have those who are genuinely pursuing the education. But for the quality of this university to be ascertained, it will not be left in the hand of the student or the candidate alone. The Federal Ministry of Education and the National University Commission should do more to enlighten people not only on approved and recognized universities in this foreign country, but with their accredited courses, because there's a difference between when a university is approved to operate and what specific courses are they accredited for, because not all courses are accredited in all universities, even in universities that are known to have quality. So this information in most cases are not in the public domain, and candidates always fall prey for those universities who have this tendency of corrupt practices. So what should be done is that there must be our website that hosts the approved university must as well as go as talking about the courses that are accredited in those university, and the process of hosting them should be a periodic one. It should not be one time off, whereby a university that hitherto has been doing good but have dropped in quality, such should be captured by our regulatory body and be posted on our website. Most Nigeria websites are dormant. The information posted there are often stayed there and they are stalemate. So it is a call to service to all government parastatals, even as private, to ensure that in the digital era, our websites are up to date and information are developed on daily basis.
Mr. Tubelek, it was quite, shocking as I read responses to this report that, that people can sit in the corners of their office at homes and receive certificates in less than 2 months. And we're not just talking about, BSc or Masters, even as much as a PhD, which is supposed to be the highest level of learning. People can sit, and it's not honorary. It's the actual PhD certificate that you receive without even having to attend classes for one day. How far down the chain do you think that the investigation should go, and what should be the consequences for these actions?
Of course, forgery has consequences in our law and all other countries' law. I think the provision for anyone that engage in any act of forgery should be subjected to face the law to defend themselves, and where they are found guilty, the provision of the law should be applied to those who are found guilty. I also want to say here that it is condemnable, it is unacceptable for people to begin to look for certificates at all means. And in also solving this problem, we should also de-emphasize certification in our process of human resources. There is a need for government to increase the recognition given to those who have gone for skill acquisition. And in those days, there is what we call trade text, where a person had gone for a given skill acquisition, says medicine, plumbing, mechanical, and the rest. There are agencies within the government circle that are given the statutory role to accredit and certify these people. And when they eventually seek for job, either within the government circle in particular and or the private, the dichotomy between those who have come with certification and those who have acquired this skill through technical school or through mentorship should not be too wide, so much that those who have acquired skill could not meet up with ends meet. And this will not become a rush for getting certification so that they can get job that can meet up their ends meet. So government should also do that as a means of discouraging people to rush for certification in all cases. In developed country, I have been in Ukraine in the past, and I have been in some other developed country where those who have gone through mentorship to acquire certain skill are encouraged to earn living wages that can take care of the family, and that can discourage them even when they are not ready to, either they are lazy or they are intelligent, then they cannot go through the rigorous of academic. They can still settle with the skill and earn a better life. I also want to add here that it is also the role of government to ensure that there are sufficient provision of social amenities that can make individual meet up with ends meet. Provision of affordable health services, provision of standard and modern schools, so that not everyone will need to spend money or spend fortune in sending their children to university, sending their children to schools, including university, that they cannot afford. And with this, people can still attain the highest level of education without any malpractices or trying to beat the system. But whosoever is caught, that must be condemned. They must be meant to face the law, and
Absolutely.
the law must take its course.
And I guess it's also very important to say, look, we also have to de-emphasize the importance of foreign certificates, because it looks like in Nigerians we say, look, people with foreign certificates get jobs faster than those who have schooled here. I guess that's also part of the conversation. Thank you so much for talking to us. Always a pleasure. President, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Yomi Otubela.
Thank you.
That's our show today. Watch a repeat broadcast at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Precious Amayo.